I'm joined today by Matt Buttery, the CEO of Family Matters Institute, one of the organisations behind DadTalk.co.uk. So Matt, thanks for joining us today. I just really want to kind of ask you some questions and talk a little bit about some of the things that us dads need to think about. But really, give me your thoughts on the recession.
We're in the middle of a serious crisis in the UK, and that just puts huge pressure on families. And obviously at DadTalk, we're very concerned with the role that fathers can play in that.
What do you think dads can do to help prepare their families and kids at this time?
We need to remember that kids are kids, and so you don't want to overburden them with financial worries, but have a conversation. I know on DadTalk you got some great articles about spending time together over dinner. Just use one evening this week perhaps to talk about money, talk about the recession, talk about what you as a family might do in response to it.
Matt, I know you've got 4 kids yourself. What are some of the things that you do to teach them about money?
One of the main ways that we use as a family to teach our kids about money is pocket money. As young kids, it's not a lot of money. It's £1, it's £1.50, but it just teaches them to handle money, to maybe think about saving up for something, or to think about spending. Every birthday they get slightly more pocket money, and the amount goes up. And as they become teenagers and they get an allowance, we've just started this thing where we start them negotiating with us. So they have to come and put forward a proposal for the allowance. The negotiation's a bit of fun, and it teaches them a bit of negotiating skills. But really, just trying to give our kids that experience of handling money, of knowing what it's like to maybe buy something and have it break the next day because perhaps it wasn't as good quality, and maybe losing money. That's real life. It happens to all of us. So just allowing kids in their own little way to experience that, I think is a really valuable way to teach our families about money.
So Matt, I've got 2 boys. How do I help them when maybe they're seeing their friends get some of the things that I can't afford to give them?
Peer pressure, which is what you're talking about, is one of the hardest things, as a dad, to help your kids deal with. It's frustrating when your mate's going somewhere and perhaps you're not. So talk about it. Let them express that. Don't shut that stuff down. Let them talk about it. But ultimately, kids are going to learn from us and the way we handle those things, how to handle themselves financially in later life. And the reality is, I would really like a Ferrari, but I can't afford one. We have to learn to live within our means, and they are tough lessons to learn, and so therefore take a lot of, I think we've got to give our kids a lot of love, a lot of grace, a lot of affirmation. But actually, it is the reality of the world, and we can't cloister our kids, because if we do cloister our kids, the danger is they then grow up thinking, well, I can have whatever I want. You can just consume, have what you need, get what you want. And I think it's a dangerous thing to teach our kids. What I don't want to do as a dad is create a poverty mentality in my children's minds, because actually we're really wealthy. You look at the rest of the world and we're one of the wealthiest nations. But I think in all of this it's important that we talk to our kids about why, and we allow them to emotionally feel it and to express it. I've got boys. Technology is really important to them. They would like the latest, greatest everything. And they save to that, and we've done some things where we've bought some stuff between us and we've saved up together. We've had some fun doing that, actually. But they can't have everything. and so it's important for us to talk about that and talk about what they have got and celebrate it.
So Matt, debt is obviously spending more money than you've got coming in. What do you think are some of the things that families can do to live within their means? If
you're finding money tight, then one of the things you might think about doing is when you go and do your grocery shopping, there's a little secret that I don't think the supermarkets want us to know, but they've actually got 4 grades of goods in the supermarket. They've got their value sort of ranges. They've got their own brand range, Sainsbury's, Tesco's. Then they've got the branded range, so your Heinz and your whatever else, McVitie's. And then they've got their premium products, the finest sort of range. So perhaps if you're somebody that always buys Heinz baked beans, why don't you try Sainsbury's? Don't go to value. You don't have to necessarily go to value at this stage. Just try going down that rung. As you start to understand the mentality the supermarkets have got, sometimes you can use it for your own benefit. Because at the moment interest rates have gone down, if you are financially, you've still got the same amount coming in and your mortgage has gone down, don't use that money for anything else. Use that money to pay off the mortgage. I just encourage you, keep paying that into your mortgage, overpay your mortgage. With many mortgages, if you've overpaid them, if you then get into trouble later down the line, you can draw that overpayment back without it affecting your mortgage payments at all. We spend an awful lot of time and money sometimes going out and trying to, create wonderful memories, and we're going to go to some big theme park or something, and actually going and playing football in the park, or going and playing a game of cricket, or packing a picnic, going on a bike ride and having the picnic together don't cost a penny or cost very little, and yet create memories. Because actually for most kids it's just about spending time with their parents. And so if as a dad you can spend time with your kids, it doesn't really matter what you're doing, it's just great to be spending the time.
Matt, give me some practical ways that families can budget.
Get yourself a piece of paper and write down everything that comes in and everything that goes out. And that's your very simple budget. And then what you've got to look at is there more going out than I've got coming in? And if there is, you've got to look at, well, where am I going to cut down my expenditure, or how am I going to increase my income? You've got one or the other. You might try this thing called jam jar budgeting. Get yourselves a load of jam jars, and then basically once you've set your budget, put your cash in the jam jars for the different things. So maybe one is for food, one is for your bills, one is for play, and social stuff that you do as a family or as adults in the family. Maybe one is just your own pocket money. Give yourself some pocket money out of the budget. And once you've got the cash in the jam jars, that's all you've got to live on. Buying things in cash will open your eyes to how much things cost and how much money you spend. If you're really into it, I think Microsoft do a money package, and I know other people do a money package where you can track your money exactly where it is. But whatever you do, I encourage you. I don't know anybody that actually has successfully navigated life without thinking about budgeting. If there's one thing you do after watching this video, go and have a look at your money and maybe write yourself a budget and try and stick to it for a month, see how it goes.
Matt, I'm in debt. What can I do?
Well, I think the first thing is to recognise that you're in debt. You need to be honest with yourself, and then maybe be honest with a friend or seek some help. Key thing really is to start writing down what it is that you owe and where those debts are, so that it's just all on a piece of paper. One of the biggest problems, one of the biggest reasons we get into debt is because we just don't really have a handle on our finances. If you've got a good relationship with your family, talk to your family about it. Obviously, if you're in a relationship, if you're married, talk to your partner, talk to your wife about it. Let's start that process by being honest, but talk to your family. Often family will be willing to help you out, but if they do help you out, make sure there's a clear agreement with your family, maybe even a written agreement which says, oh, I will pay you back and this will be the terms of the payback, because the danger is you don't want to get yourself into more problems. If you've got a mortgage, talk to your mortgage company first and try and pay that as priority. The last thing you want to do is lose the house that your family is living in, that you're living in, because that is going to cause many other problems. So deal with the housing debts first. Many companies that so your electricity company, your gas company, will actually be open to coming up with an agreement with you to repaying the money that you owe them. And if you can come up with a solution which says, I've been working this out with a friend and I can pay my debt back at £10 a month, many of them will accept that, because it's better that they get some of their money than they get none of it, or that they get their money over a longer period of time. There are loads of organisations out there that can also help you. Obviously, DadTalk on the forum has got the debt advisors. There's loads of articles and resources on DadTalk for the recession in particular, looking at these particular issues. Read those, look at those, use the forum, use the advisors. But there's some other great organisations out there that we would endorse and recommend. So organisations like Credit Action, creditaction.co.uk, or the Consumer Credit Counselling Service, cccs.co.uk. They've also got a telephone helpline. The numbers I know will be on the website. Or the Citizens Advice Bureau. There's some great people out there that can help you deal with your problems. But as I say, the key thing is break the silence, break the shame, actually, because I think as guys, when we get into money troubles, you feel ashamed often, and break that shame and just be honest. And you'll find actually there's quite a lot more help out there than you realise. So yeah, access it, use it.